Live, welcome to my video. This is going to be my thoughts on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 6, Episode 11, From the Ashes. The episode is rated TV 14, so will this video be, and like all other, videos I've done on this show so far, the episode is one, that I really love, like all other episodes of the show so far. And let's see, and most things MCU and adjacent. And there will be spoilers for everything MCU and adjacent leading up to and including when this episode first aired. Let's dive right in. So I think they're doing a really solid job of delivering, like, when they got Benson free. For a second there, I was a little worried that she was going to say, now I'll never find the place, but no, she already knows, and there's going to be a convergence. The S.H.I.E.L.D., people are going to go there as well. Convergence means something else in the MCU context, but yeah, they've built it up. Y'all built it up too much to not deliver on, and let's see, by the end of the episode, they're right there. Mac and Elena and Izel, and I think I'll deal with the one really big. It meant a lot to me how much the episode deals with grief. I've said it before on this channel. It's an extremely important theme. I think it is one of the most important things that every single human being will have to do at some point in our lives that so few of us are taught. So I really appreciate when media picks up the slack. It's taboo, but we need to actually deal with it. And this thing of, May and Daisy are both grieving Coulson, and let's see, it was powerful. Both, the thing of, there is nothing of the man you love in there, and then he turns off the radio. But that was, it's been a little while since there's been a conflict, at least of this intensity emotionally, between May and Daisy. And the thing, I used to be your SO, that was, both of them have valid points, and I do appreciate, Simmons pointing out to Daisy, this is what you do, you run, you have to face it. And note to Simmons: the next time you tell someone to face their problems, add the asterisk, I do not mean snapping someone's neck. But and Daisy goes in, finally opens up the letter, and reads it to herself, and like, she only really has one verbal reaction to it. It's like, he's never called me Star Lady before. To be clear, I'm not saying that this minority character is derivative of a white male character. I'm saying this particular scene is very derivative of that particular, I kind of appreciate we don't learn. I suppose it's possible we will. The show's not over yet. But exactly what the letter says, just that, as she says later to May, he wanted us to take care of each other. And then May goes, he said that to you too? Wow, he really... It's the exact same thing to me. I don't know which of us got the hand-me-down. Now, let's see. Daisy being very intense, and come on, work with me here, before Simmons calls her out, was also quite good. And Daisy saying, so what, we have to deal with the problem. And Simmons is like, Daisy, I'm aware of your opinion. I do think it is very rude of you to refer that way to my bangs. Oh, you mean Sarge, right. And genuinely clever. I'm glad it worked. But yeah, it was a risk to run, and it did pay off. You know, he came back again. Poor guy just keeps dying over and over. And it was really great, the thing, you know, we realize in retrospect, no, Sarge, like, when he knocks her away and escapes, and then she comes after him with the frickin' sword, he was taking care not to kill her because he figured it might take someone like her to kill him so that he doesn't hurt them like Izel did. That was also, I don't know how I forgot to say, but I did really love the thing of, you know, he and was it Pax? So, no, wait, I was thinking it was the guy who became Concrete, but yeah, one of them at least said this word, and it turns out that doesn't, you know, that refers to Sarge, not, you know, yeah. But the, yeah, you know, Sarge threw Daisy away rather than, you know, if he has the strength to throw her like that, he could also, you know, I mean, blunt force trauma would have killed her if he didn't pick her up and throw her. Or pick her up. He threw her, at least. Threw her against something that could break her fall. And then when she has the sword, he moves, like, uncomfortably close. He's trying to get her to kill him. You know, and there was no reason for him to wait for that inside the room because she doesn't have the sword yet, you know. So, yeah. And I really do love that the thing that, you know, seals it is that he calls her Sky. Because there's no way Sarge knew that she used to go by Sky. And then you also have the line, you're capable of so much more than you think, you know. Or yeah, not verbatim quote, but that was also a great, yeah. And yeah, the sacrifice play is very much what Coulson would do. I think that... Right. It's not always that I feel bad for Deke, but when he's really trying to keep up with these two uber geniuses, you know, just, no, yeah, that makes it, no, you know what, that actually makes more sense. You know, he's trying, and there's at least one bit where they just kind of look at him and it's like, we have to be nice to grandson, he's doing his best, you know, and then later... he actually figures it out. You know, there's the thing about and also, could you just shut up for a second? Just like, okay, yeah, he really is, like, I don't know if that's more like grandchild or just child behavior, or not child, offspring, yeah, you know, offspring of any age, but telling parent or grandparent to shut up, just, but yeah, you know, the song inside, and then, you know, resonant frequencies, and finally he's, you know, he's really helping, and the little smile he gives, because he says, yeah, you know, and the way they look at him when they're like, wow, he really does take after us, you know, just such a sweet moment. Let's see, I think, and yeah, you know, him picking up, and then banging against the table, and you hear the you know, vibrations, the song kind of thing, you know, and also the thing with, you know, oh, maybe we should hyper-stimulate. So you're saying we all do meth? Hear me out on the, you know, just, yeah, that was, and the thing with, you know, that would probably be a terrible idea, or it would be the best idea. Deke, please stop trying to get your grandparents to do hard drugs. And, yeah, you know, now that they know it's the frequency thing, you know, yeah, they can make a device, and the, you know, wearable, like a belt, and very, very clever, because they really do need, they're not going to be able to defeat Izel if she can continue to take over their bodies. Let's see, yeah, some great stuff on the plane. Both the way that they get, you know, Benson out of there with, you know, be ready, Dr. Benson. And then, you know, yeah, Elena runs out and grabs the thing, and then Izel goes in there, are you stealing from me? And then like, throws, was it Mac? Yeah, I think, you know, throwing around Mac. wow, I guess she's conservative? Because it's like, it's a meaningless gesture. You know, technically they stole, but she got it right back. Yeah, I don't know what... When the looting starts, the shooting starts is called in Shrike, but it's pretty clear Izel is a big fan of that policy. You know that they're the good guys because they value property over human lives. But yeah, it was so great with the, you know, I like seeing Benson all like excited. He's like, you know, technically there's 3 options. Oh, should that be like, you know, and you know, but one of them's the 2 ley lines. So, you know, that's, you know, Keller's theory would be right. And then Elena says, we should tell him. And Benson's face, like, oh no, Mac is, you know, I guess does he even know about the taking over? Because he wasn't present for that, but he knows that there's something off. And Mac, you know, or Mizell does not know about Keller, so yeah, he just goes, he'll get a kick out of that, you know, so just very nicely done. And the thing, you know, oh, so let's land at the... You know what? Hard evidence is really the way to go. Please ignore me. Obviously, you know, it's one of those things where if Mizell just immediately grabbed the thing, but, you know, Mizell doesn't realize it about, you know. And I do love the face of it. You got me. You figured out that, you know, and even looks to Elena, because, like, that's the only way that Dr. Benson could have realized. And I gotta say, she got more murdery recently, being so close to the goal, and being, you know, them continuing to not do as she says. She's getting frustrated, you know. I do appreciate that. Like, think back to how, like, when she thought she was gonna win as soon as she got to Earth, she was like, Fitzsimmons, the legends are true, you know, but now she's like, fine, I'll stab him, you know, I'll stab this guy. What a pain in the neck. And I think that does... Oh, right, and yeah, bringing Thomas back, and the thing with, you know, I heard every word you said, and Elena's like, it's a lie! At most he could have heard a third of it. And yeah, you know, Benson blaming himself for Thomas's death, and then she's, you know, Izel stabs him, and is like, I can bring him back over and over. Every time his death will be your fault. Just, yeah, it's not that she is, like, always really cruel and sadistic, but she gets that way when she's this close and there's just a little bit left, and again, the frustration of the... You know, she thought as soon as she got Benson, she would have the answers. Right, really excited about the Chronocoms... Crony? Anyway, with Atara being shot, you know, the flaw in the plan is you. And I don't know for sure, but I cannot help but wonder if Chronicon 3 is a planet we know, perhaps in fact Earth. Because, like, otherwise, why does it really matter to the audience if they're going to conquer? If it's not a planet we already know. But yeah, I could be off. And it was also interesting, you know... Yeah, they took different things from the brain. You know, we've already been told in some ways Atara is somewhat unorthodox. You know, what was it they say? Especially unusually aggressive for a Chronicon. So, yeah, Atara perceived it as, you know, oh, time travel. I see this as an absolute win. Let's see... And there was indeed a mutiny, you know, the start of, or earlier in the episode, that was, you know, planted in her subconscious, you know, that was, Hyper, I want to say, who said it to one of the others, which was also a great moment. You know, no offense, but I'll mutiny if you give me that order. Let's see. I think that does cover... let's see. Yeah, I thought they did a good job of gradually, you know, at the end of... was it the post-credits, maybe? In the episode before this one, we see, you know, the effect with on the hand of Sarge, that, you know, becoming more like Ghost Rider. And then in this one, you know, he smashes, you know, he's like, I did not murder him, smashes his hand on the table. I'm sorry, I apologize for reminding you that that movie exists. I've been trying to get it out of my own memory. Anyway, you know, smashes his hand in the table, or smashes the table with his hand, and then, you know, breaks out, and just, yeah. And I do appreciate they're actually going with it. No, this sword can kill the alien. I love comic book media. That's amazing. Let's defeat the outer space beings who can travel extreme distances across the stars with a medieval weapon that glows slightly and has, you know, resonant frequencies. And just, yeah. Let's see. I think that might just about cover the entire episode. Let's see. I like Piper acknowledging, okay, so maybe there's some bad news there. I feel like there's one more thing I am missing. Let's see. I like I think it was Elena who was like, I gotta stop waking up like this. You know, that is, like, at this point, you know, getting taken over and over. Right. When Elena fell for Mizell. Oh, right, I also did like the thing, you know, let's have a conversation. We haven't talked since Bow Chicka Wow Wow. But, yeah, Elena fell for Mizell's, you know, trick, hook, line, and sinker. You know, because just, yeah, it's understandable. I'm not saying it's like weakness or something, but just the face Mizell pulls was, Benson, there's a name I haven't heard before. That was such a great, you know, because, yeah, like the lines would make sense if the, you know, I mean essentially, if that hadn't been Izel inside of Mac, if it was just Elena and Mac talking and Izel couldn't hear them, yeah, it would be like, okay, we gotta make sure Izel never realizes about Dr. Benson. You know, it's a logical conversation to be having. Yeah, I like the bit with, you know, you sure you want to tell us your bad guy plan? Because usually that happens right before the bad guy dies. Which did feel very, yeah, Whedon-esque. You know, once again, not making any excuses for him as a person. He is terrible. I'm glad he's canceled. But I do think some of this dialogue works really well for comic book adaptations. Yeah, I think that does cover everything. I like to imagine that Daisy just, like, every so often offs someone by snapping their neck to get them to work with them, and there's, like, an, you know, unmarked grave landfill area somewhere just full of people. Hopefully, like, terrible people, but, you know, that Daisy, you know, just sat there in the chair waiting. Oh, it's been several hours. I guess this one's not waking up.